Okay, tissues, actually water. I forgot the water. And I think there's a cup of water, right? What is that called? Is there a special term for it? Getting water? Get out your okay. All right. Thank you all for being here today. One warm evening, a little over a decade ago, I had a clandestine meeting with a young woman, we'll call her Chaya. Like me, she had recently left her ultra-Orthodox community of origin, and like me, she was scared. Scared of what people back home were saying about her, scared of her future, scared that she would become just another cautionary tale perpetuated in the ultra-Orthodox world about the mentally ill breakaways who end up colossal failures or fall prey to drug addiction and homelessness. After weeks of reassurance that we'd keep our meeting a secret, Chaya and I decided to meet underground on the platform of the 1 train. As the crowd swirled around us and the trains roared past, we stood there talking about our shared sense of relief, that we weren't alone and that there were others who felt equally adrift in an alien world. The sense of comfort and support in each other's company was revelatory. If the two of us were going through this, how many more current and former ultra-Orthodox men and women stood on the same metaphoric platform, desperate to get from one place to another? It was this conversation with Chaya, as well as a few other life-altering encounters, like the one with Peter, which convinced me footsteps could be the vehicle that would deliver people from a life they didn't want to live to a life of their choosing. It was the start of this organization we are celebrating here today. We discovered early on in the Footsteps journey that there are many, many people who grew up ultra-Orthodox who simply put want out. Whether it's because they had a difficult childhood, or they hunger for an education, or they no longer believe in the tenets of ultra-Orthodoxy, or all or none of the above, they yearn for the right to make a choice about how to live their life. It's a most basic right in America. It's a human right. In its earliest days, Footsteps was in many ways an underground movement. After I placed calls and sent emails out to people who called and sent the emails out to others, about 25 people showed up for a drop-in support group. The only rule that was outlined before and after each meeting, and sometimes in the middle, was that no one would tell anyone within the ultra-Orthodox community about anyone they met at this by invitation only gathering. We met at the Y and at NYU's Bronfman Center, a roving support network for people who were at once suffering from the loss of the extremely tight community, eager to experience a brand new world, fearful of what lay ahead, but determined to build a life that was consistent with their personal needs and beliefs. If it sounds like a roller coaster, trust me, it is. Through those meetings, I discovered how deep these needs were. People were isolated, lacking the basic skills to get jobs, had little or no money, and on too many occasions, I met people with nowhere to live. There were some who didn't have a traditional high school diploma, which meant that they had to take the GED exam and then apply to college. Quite a feat for someone who was told all their life that college was nothing more than a bad temptation. And I haven't even begun to talk about the deep trauma associated with adjusting to a foreign world. Unlike many of the people I was meeting, it was my good fortune to have family who lived in the world I wanted to be a part of. My grandmother, Judith Goldberg Schwartz, who has now passed on, was my rock. When I found my way out, there was nothing she wouldn't do to help me. She housed me, problem solved with me, and dreamed with me. Okay. When the idea of Footsteps began evolving, the organization immediately became a family affair. My aunt, Deborah Friedman, co-chair of this event, was my closest ally. She not only supported me emotionally, she put me in touch with people who were also willing to come on board, or lead the board, and turn this idea of Footsteps into a reality. For your unending dedication and optimism, thank you. In fact, thanks to Deborah, I met Peter and his family who are here tonight. As an attorney, Peter has billable hours. And if Footsteps were to be billed for the time he spent advancing our mission, we'd be in serious debt. Peter, we owe a great debt to you. Without Deborah and Peter, I can honestly say there would be no Footsteps. When I think of all the support I received, and then I contrast it with the total lack of support many of our members experienced, I'm all the more blown away by the absolute courage it takes to leave the community when it means cutting ties with everyone you know and everyone who has loved and nurtured you. I invite you now to imagine it. Close your eyes and visualize what it would be like if tomorrow you were adrift in a world you barely knew existed. You are alone. At best, your friends and family question your motivations and your character, but it is likely that you are without your parents, spouse, children, or friends. Imagine what it would be like if you needed to learn everything from scratch: how to behave in society, how to get a job, how to fend for yourself, and you had absolutely no one to help you, no one to listen to you or offer any support at all. That was the situation for Chaya, who I met on the subway platform, and it was the situation for many people who left prior to 2003. That was the situation that caused me to realize Footsteps was absolutely necessary, and it still is. Fortunately, over the years, many more supporters identified with our cause and offered critical support. As I look out here tonight, I am just astonished by what I see. A ballroom filled with people who care deeply about choice and those who can't take choice for granted. Thank you. I hope you will continue to support the organization because I know for a fact there are many people out there who need us and need each other. I have a few personal thank yous. Michael Jenkins. My second Footsteps colleague and the longest-serving staff member. Michael, you embody the determination of Footsteps participants. You have led the way and helped Footsteps persevere during difficult times. Your priority has always been the Footsteps participants and their ability to experience the joy of life and celebrate accomplishments. Michael, Footsteps has been fortunate to benefit from your wisdom, your care, and your ability to help uncover our individual truths. Thank you to the current board chair and another relative of mine, my cousin Mark Goldberg. You built our space. Where is he? There you are. You built our space, literally and figuratively. Our infrastructure, the infrastructure that will take us into the next 10 years. Mark and I have a little dance we go through, where I thank him profusely for all that he has done for Footsteps. He responds by telling me that he considers it an honor and joy. He thanks me for the opportunity. So now I have the mic, so he can't respond. I thank you more. More. He also takes no credit and will remind me that in his words, it's all Lonnie. Lonnie Santo, Footsteps' brilliant executive director. You gracefully and courageously walk the fine line between being methodical yet flexible, professional yet caring, compassionate and upright, knowledgeable yet open to learning. Thank you for your outstanding leadership. Okay, this might also get some tears going. Okay, My next thank you is for my siblings. I'm the eldest of 9 children, and the price my family bore has been quite heavy. Okay, first, my parents and siblings were called on to account for my leaving. And then, as word got out about Footsteps, they were called on to account for my activities. Okay. Tonight, a majority of my 8 siblings are here. Please stand up. Manucha, Shani, Mushki, you didn't stand up, but that's okay. It's not the first time you didn't listen to me. Okay, I want to say to all of you, from Bluma, who was just an infant when I left, to Shani, Manucha, and Mushki, to Ari, to Joel and Chana, to Ilana and Dini, and to Tzvi and Sarah, who couldn't make it, thank you. Each of my siblings has demonstrated tremendous strength. To some, being my sister or brother means that you must be a bad influence on others, that you are not trustworthy enough to be around their children, and that you must have some crooked priorities. To say that your attendance here tonight means the world to me is an understatement. It is a statement of your abilities to persevere and my great fortune to have you in my life. Okay, Malkie, stop crying. Oh, Lord. Okay, thanks to my relatives here tonight, to those who live here, Daniel Friedman, Daphne Moore, Bill and Lee Woods, Lori, Larry, and Julie Lefkowitz, and to those relatives who traveled to be here, Paul Goldberg and Carla Strobel, Rhonda and Dr. Ed Friedler, Ina Kahal, and to Jack Goldberg, Marion Gelbart, and Jules Cohen, who I love dearly. To all my friends and family members, from the Schwartz, the Goldberg, and the Cohen families, thank you. You have supported me in many ways, and as a result, all of us here tonight are able to extend that support to others. Thank you to Footsteps members. 10 years later, many Footsteppers are paying it forward and helping people in earlier stages of their transition. That's the beauty of what Footsteps has become, a fresh and bold community built on the principles of freedom and choice, as well as love and support. Peter told me a story the first time we met. This is for you. And we talked about Footsteps. Wait till you see my little interpretation of it, too. As I remember it, a little girl walked along the seashore and saw lots of starfish abandoned on the sand. Some of you may have heard this before. And desperate to be back in the water, she picked up a starfish and threw it into the water. Someone asked her why she was bothering to pick up starfish. After all, there are so many, and it is not possible to help them all. As she picked up one starfish and put it in the water, she said, "It means a lot to this starfish." When Peter told this story, I wasn't sure he heard me. We didn't have time to pick up one starfish at a time. But then he said, I know, you want to build a machine that would be capable of sweeping up all the starfish and bringing them all to the water. Today, Footsteps is that machine with personality. And it's a machine that gains in strength every time someone lends his or her support. It grows in its capacity to catch every last starfish lying on the beach. And here is something to keep in mind. Footsteps starfish, we hit the water running. And in little time, we stand shoulder to shoulder with those who are seeking their way to freedom. Footsteps members have demonstrated their commitment to ensuring that the machine leaves no starfish behind. Leah, Adina, and Shalom, thank you for your help in the driver's seat. Thank you. Okay, to those who are just being introduced to Footsteps and to those who have been supporting Footsteps for many years, thank you so very much. We hope you'll stick around for the next 10 years. Tonight we are celebrating, but there is so much work to be done. For this reason, I'm asking each person to make the next 10 years possible. Please turn to your neighbor on your right and say, 10 more years. Everyone, 10 more years. Yes. And now to your left, let's do it again. 10 more years. Okay. Thank you for indulging me in that. Let's have a great time tonight and celebrate the work that has been done and will be done to continue to strengthen Footsteps. Thank you so, so very much.